You are now watching the Amazing Mets pregame show with your hosts, Rob and CP.
Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets! Let's go Mets!
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Amazing Mets pregame show on both of our channels. How is everybody doing today? And if you're a Met fan, you are doing very well. We got the shades out once again because this team remains red hot 7 in a row and looking for the sweep of the Rangers tonight with Manaea on the mound. And guess what, guys? This team is still the hottest team in baseball, and look, they could have easily lost yesterday, and nobody would have batted an eye. It would have been like, all right, it happens. It's baseball. But they fought. They chipped away at the lead, came back and won again. Let's say what up to my boy Chris next to me. How you doing, buddy?
Woo! How are we doing, everybody? Wow, Mets fans, this is great. Held the post game last night with my guy Hector from Blunt Thoughts. It was great. Make sure you go check that out. We were hyped. We were live. We were breaking down Luis Severino's start. We were breaking down the offense, Francisco Alvarez's clutch double. This team, everything is working right now. And the fight with this team is also 100% strong. And this is exactly what we've been waiting for, Rob, when we talk about the fight and the grit of this team. Everything is falling into place right now, and we got to carry that momentum into tonight and get that sweep against the defending world champions. It's going to be awesome. Post-game show going down on my channel tonight. Rob, I know you can't make it, so I'll have Nick from the He Did This To Me podcast, also the co-host of my True Knicks Talk post games. We'll be chopping it up with you all later around 11:10, whenever the game is done. Make sure you check in on that. Hit that thumbs up on this stream. Let's talk some Mets baseball, because how can you not be hyped about this team right now? It's impossible. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Unfortunately, I was at work and I seen Alvarez's big hit, and I'm going nuts at work. And everybody knew why I was going nuts at work, but who cares? But it was absolutely insane, absolutely a lot of fun. And you know, it's what we want. We want to see from this team, even when they're red hot. You know, you don't always expect your team to come back. You just it's a game of inches, and it is what it is, right? But for them to come back and that huge hit by Alvarez, and let's be honest, there was a lot of guys that did damage. And what I loved was that they chipped away. How big was that Brendan Nimmo home run to get it to 6-3? Right? It just chipped away. It never felt like this team was out of the ball game, right? Even like, and I talked about this, Chris, many times. When a team is down, you gotta have that one break, that mental situation that Corey Seager had, where that was an easy double play, and that could have changed everything. Now the Mets could have still came back and won, but you see what happens when you put the pressure on a team and you slowly start to come back, and they can't get insurance runs anymore, and they don't score anymore. And what happens? A World Series MVP twice in the World Series had a mental lapse and gave the Mets an opportunity. Now it didn't end up being anything extra in that inning, but it just felt like things were starting to unravel for them, and things were starting to go right for the New York Mets. And it's amazing. And I'm not even, I guess I could say I'm speechless, because I wasn't expecting this type of run again with this team, right? Somebody in the chat, I forgot who it was. I think it was Depressed Mr. Mets fan. I think it was a Depressed Mets fan. We were 11 games under 500, and we're 2 games under 500 now, in the hottest team in baseball. The second hot run in 3 months for this New York Mets team. Chris, I'm pumped. Like, I'm ready to go. I want the game to start like now. Like, start early. We don't need fans in the ballpark. Don't worry about it. They're pissed off at their team, even though they won a World Series. Let's just start now. That's the way I feel.
No,
Let's
you're
get
100% right. You're 100% right. There was a lot of turning points in the game yesterday. I was on the in-game live stream for a couple innings. I literally just got into the live stream with Hector. Make sure you subscribe to his YouTube channel. We were doing the in-game live. As soon as I got on here, the first pitch Brandon Nimmo sees, he takes yard. And that was the sign of a nice little comeback there. And I agree with you 100%. Yesterday, that Corey Seager play with bases loaded, I believe it was,
Yep.
up the middle. He had an easy made double play. All he had to do was step on the bag, which he literally caught the ground ball and then stepped on the bag after that. And then he had to make an easy throw. And he botched the throw. And it just seemed like that was the momentum swing right there for the New York Mets. I agree with you. I'm so hyped for today. We got a couple comments here in the comment section. One from Eric. Sean Manaea is a 5-inning guy. What's the likelihood of him exceeding 5 innings? Doesn't really matter.
No.
I don't expect him to go beyond 5 innings anymore. I've said this countless of times in my stream. Go 5 innings, keep your team in the ball game, and the bullpen will do the rest, and hopefully the offense does the rest. And that's how we have to take the approach into tonight. But last night, right, because we have to talk about last night. Like I said, if you guys missed the reaction, the instant reaction on the post game, make sure you go check it out on my channel. It is up on the live stream section. Go check it out. It was awesome. Can we give props to Francisco Alvarez and Pete Alonso?
Yes, sir.
And Mark Vientos, right? If we're talking about guys that had huge games, but with clutch hits, everyone says Pete isn't clutch, right? Scratch that out of your memory. I don't know what you need to do, but scratch that out of your memory. He came through. Francisco Alvarez set Pete Alonso up. I believe Darren in the live chat yesterday said if Francisco Alvarez hit doesn't happen, then Pete Alonso's go-ahead RBI doesn't happen. Absolutely right. Talk about the confidence level of that kid. Screenshots with the smirk on his face right before David Peterson threw that pitch. That's what we love to see out of your franchise catcher at 22 years old. Wow. What a game.
Yep.
Let the good times roll and ride the wave. That's what I got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just spilling out that Francisco Alvarez is going to be a superstar. Like he just lives for those moments. Like in 2023, even though the Mets were down in the dumps, he had the flair for the dramatics. And he's a guy that loves to be in that moment, regardless of, anybody we talk about, Lindor, Alonso, this guy's not clutch, everything like that. We all have our opinions on who's not clutch or who might not be clutch. Alvarez is clutch. That guy I want in a big spot, like big time, like this. Like, did anybody think he wasn't going to come through? Like, I was listening to the game and I'm like, oh, it's going to happen. Like, I felt good about it, right? And it's just a great feeling to have right now. And you know what? It feels even better because we weren't expecting this again. We thought this team was done, like that. And that's the most crazy thing to me, right? You could talk about the grimace effect. I got the purple going on, purple outlines and borders and all that fun stuff. We're going straight purple grimace effect, but it's crazy because you see what happens when everything comes together on your ball club. It's right. Everything's working, right? Severino didn't have it yesterday, right? The offense going to be like, all right, it is what it is. But you know what? I did like it. I don't know if you heard this post game, but Severino asked to stay in the ball game when Mendoza was going to take him out. And Mendoza was like,
the key, Rob.
Yep.
That's the key. That takes a lot of guts. Shout out to Severino. He didn't have it, but him asking for the ball back made all the difference in the world. And that's right there what a leader freaking does. Shout out to Luis Severino.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? Big shout out to Mendoza because he could have went with the numbers, could have went with the third time around the order and says, listen, that's it. No, but he went with his gut feeling. How many times have we talked about Mendoza this year using his gut over numbers? Right? He's a manager, guys. He is a guy, a first-time manager. Don't make those type of decisions. It doesn't happen. Even the best teams in baseball. Go back to Dave Roberts when he first became the manager. Go back to Aaron Boone. Guys that a lot of people believe that are good managers because their teams are really good. They win every year, right? But they always get criticized by going way too much by the numbers and way too much of using the analytics, not using their gut. Mendoza used his gut yesterday. He could have easily just looked at the book and said, that's it, you're done. But he trusted Severino. He knows Severino from all the years with the Yankees. He trusted him and he trusted his team, his overall team, because he felt if I can't back up my player when he wants to be out there, then what the hell am I doing here? And that is something that players love about managers. If your manager got your back and trust you when you say, I got this, right? This wasn't a Matt Harvey, Terry Collins situation. It seemed like the right move. Like, I don't think a lot of people question it. Now, I wasn't on social media at that moment. Maybe people did question it, but I wasn't mad about it. I go, you know what? Severino's been your best pitcher. Why not trust him? If you don't trust him in his worst, why trust? Why can you only trust him at his best? Because Severino knew he had something else left in the tank, and he did it for the team. He saved the bullpen a little bit more, and everybody else did their job. Everybody. Severino, his last inning, did his job. The bullpen did his job, kept them to 6 runs. That's important. I don't think a lot of people realize that. They could have got easily 1 or 2 insurance runs, and you know what? It could have been ball game. But they held them to 6 and gave the Mets an opportunity to come back, right? I say this all the time. The Mets are never out of a ball game. It's always a close game, Chris, and you give your team an opportunity, either if it's the pitching or the offense, giving them a chance to win at the end of games is a sign of a good team. And I said this a couple of streams ago. They were heading towards a good team. Then they had to prove. Right now, you're not as hot, you're not as good as your best hot streak, and you're not as bad as your best losing streak. There's somewhere in between. It might be a little bit closer to good than bad, but I'm starting to feel like this team is actually a good ball club. I think this team can be a few games over 500, maybe 4 or 5 games over 500 team. Something that we probably think that wasn't going to happen, Chris.
Listen, I was literally in Hector's in-game live stream where Luis Severino kind of was like, it was the Mets' turn to bat, and we were like, who's going to come out there for the Mets in that next inning? And we saw Jake Diekman warming up. I forgot who else was warming up. I think it was Drew Smith, but I could be mistaken. Oh, maybe it was Reed Garrett. Oh, it was a righty and a lefty. One was Diekman, one's whoever the righty was. And the commercial break cuts. And Hector's like, yo, CP, because he was ahead of me in the stream. He was like, yo, CP, like, Severino's going out there for one more. And I was like, hell yeah, he is. 100%. That's exactly what you want to see. And my sort of reasoning to that was, and we can only assume here, is that rapport that Mendoza and Luis Severino have together, right? They are familiar with each other going back to the Yankee days and their Yankee days. Now, I don't want to make this about the Yankees, but they have rapport together, and they understand when Luis Severino tells him, right, presumably that he's got one more in him, Mendoza's going to listen to that and be like, you got it. You go out there, you give me one more inning of scoreless ball. If you happen to get in trouble, then we'll pull the plug. But this is your game right now, and you finish it out for one more inning, and we let the offense do their job. This is what a player's manager does. And I absolutely love it. And that's why everybody should be on the train of Carlos Mendoza right now in terms of actually buying in and believing into the system that he's put into place. So I love it absolutely. And listen, let's give ourselves some credit here too. I know Easy was in the chat yesterday during the pregame saying this offense was going to come down to life. And Rob, you said it, I said it. We'd be happy if the Mets put up half of that 14 runs that we saw in game 1. And guess what they did? They scored 7 runs, exactly half of what they did in game 1. But you know what? I need a replication. We got Andrew Heaney on the mound today for the Rangers. I need a replication. He hasn't been doing so well, pitching to a 4+ ERA. His fastball is at 91, 92 miles per hour. Yes, he throws off speed in congruency to that. Understood. Get these guys out of the ball game. And guess what? David Robertson, excuse me, former Met. I said David Peterson. David Robertson. What did he just do a couple games ago prior to coming into this game with the New York Mets? He struck out Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman in back-to-back games, all straight. And you know what happens? The Mets put the pressure on, and Francisco Alvarez, the 22-year-old catcher, the New York Met of the future, the present, he gets the job done.
Yeah.
This is 2024 New York Mets baseball. And you know what I always say, Rob? We expect nothing less out of these guys because we know that they're capable. And when we come on to these streams in the pregame with our sunglasses, our shades, it's because this team is burning hot right now and we need to shield our eyes. I
Yeah.
love it. Let's carry that momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Daniel was like, Alonso's 0 for 4 with 4 Ks career versus Heaney. Yeah, but you know what? You don't know if Alonso was in a slump at that moment or any player against the pitcher, right? We talked about, certain matchups against certain pitchers, right? I don't think it matters right now because if the Mets are going to win a ball game, it's going to be for one of the reasons, right? Even if the offense doesn't do their job very well, the pitching will pick us up and keep us in the ball game. And that's the thing I keep on, saying over and over again, because this is what I'm more excited about this team, not just because of the winning. The winning obviously is what matters, but it's how they're winning, right? One day it's a low scoring game. The pitching is holding it down until the offense comes alive late in the game, right? When the pitching is not so good, the offense comes alive. They're winning it in different ways. They're picking each other up. When the pitch is not good, the offense picks them up. When the offense is not good, the pitching picks them up, keeps them in the ball game. And the Mets have been good in late innings. And I said this over and over again, right? This, when they're not playing to their capabilities, and I'm not saying all these guys being red hot is where they're going to, is their peak and they're going to stay there. But even if they drop back down to the back of their baseball cards, and I'm talking about the top 4 guys, the top guys on our team. Even if they drop back down to earth a little bit to the back of their baseball cards, that's still very good, right? We talk about when you have a hot streak, you can't have a terrible cold streak. You got to be, lukewarm at best, right? And even if they come back down to earth, they can't go ice cold at the plate. They can't go ice cold on a 10-game stretch, right? After this hot streak, if in the next 10 they go 500, that's okay. That is meaty. That is lukewarm. That's okay. Obviously, we want better, but taking a 500 record in the next 10 after this hot streak, whenever it might end, by the way, because we don't know, right? We're going to be having a chance to sweep the Rangers today, the World Series champs, by the way, and going into the Chicago with a Chicago team that is already talking about trading their players. So we have the mental game over them right now. We're winning that mental game. And unfortunately, we have an off day, which I think is good for our bullpen. But I would have loved us to go straight to Chicago, just like we did after the homestand and go straight to Texas. I think that helped. I don't think the homestand is going to cool us off, but you never know. But I tell you right now, this team is giving me signs. People talk about the 2015 Mets. I start to talk about the 2019 Nationals. And the reason why I say that, they were the exact same amount of games back from 500 on June 17th than the Mets are right now, the exact same month on the exact same day. That's
going bold.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's not even about World Series run or anything like that. It just shows you that things happen. Washington Nationals 4 games under 500, and then Baby Shark happened. Same thing like Grimace happened, right? I know that's silly to talk about, but it was a rallying cry for the team and then the fans. And there's no reason why that, everybody can laugh. The Yankee fans, I already see them laughing. Oh, look at Grimace. Ha, ha, ha. They need a rallying cry. Who cares, right? The Angels had the rally monkey. Who cares? It works. If it works, it works. Not saying that Grimace is the one, taking the bat at the plate or getting on the mound, but who cares? It's fun. The fans like it. Who cares? Right?
Not all the fans. You see some Mets fans, including Sal Licata, getting on Grimace. I mean, you don't want to piss those guys off. I mean,
the same guy that says the NL East is over is worrying about, the Mets aren't getting credit, but Grimace is. Please. I'm so sick of. Look, if you can't enjoy this, stop watching sports, because sports is all about this type of stuff, enjoying the moment, enjoying what goes on in the moment, right? Everybody loved Timmy Trumpet until it was a disaster, right? Everybody thought it was a great idea, right? But who cares, right? The difference between Grimace and Timmy Trumpet was planned and it was an event. Nobody even knew who was throwing out that pitch until they saw the big purple guy, right? Nobody knew, right? So it was kind of just like, oh, look, the Mets are a joke. Look, they're letting Grimace, one of the lost souls of the McDonald's characters, right, throwing out the first
It
pitch.
goes back before that, though, Rob, like Donnie Stevenson way back when
Yeah.
he was out there throwing up the chirp sign in the outfield, and they had a hot streak, and then they got cold after that, and everybody turned on Donnie Stevenson saying this is the stupidest thing in the world. Like, the problem is that, listen, Mets fans and fans alike cling on to these sort of signs and these omens about turning this team around. The fact of the matter is without Grimace, right? They're still playing good baseball. That's a fact. But you got to enjoy, right, these little signs that follow this team, because this is what the game is all about. Like, half of it is marketing. I'm not saying that this happened because of the marketing strategics of it all, but like, this happens. This is baseball. There's like many superstitions across players, across the fan base. Like, let people have fun. It's okay, I promise you. But I will say, to go off this, we said it in the last pregame, and Hector also said it in my postgame, right? That the Mets can lose a ball game. They could have lost last night's ball game, and I would have still been okay, because I was like, listen, as long as this team doesn't slide down the hill like we are accustomed to them seeing them do, right? They can lose ball games. And just because they lose a ball game, and they're destined to lose one, whether it's tonight, whether it's a game against the Cubs, it doesn't matter. One loss isn't going to end everything. But what we need to see, and Hector said it best, is that as soon as you lose a ball game, what do you do in the very next ball game? Do you make it 2 losses in a row? Do you make it 3 losses in a row? No. You bounce back and you get right back on track. And that's the thing that I'm watching out for. If the Mets go out and lose today, I don't care. That doesn't defeat, that doesn't take away anything from what they did in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. It doesn't take anything away. And I think a lot of fans forget that sort of sight and that vision. But I will say, if they lose, you can't continue that losing spell. You need to be mentally tough enough to bounce back. And I know you preach this all the time, and we preach this all the time. Do not let these slumps continue and be a consistent thing. But like I said, they're riding a 7-game winning streak. They're however many games, right? It's like 13-4, 14-4, whatever, since the players' meeting. I don't have it right up in front of me. You are allowed to lose a game. This is baseball. Anything can happen at any given moment. And fans need to realize that. But my problem is not losing a game. It's when we lose 2, 3, 4 and start looking like a ball club that we were before. I want to keep looking like the ball club that we have been during this stretch. And that's all I need to say about that. Like, I really do think that's very important, because this whole Grimace thing, this is just a facade, and a lot of fans that don't like Grimace. And I like the whole Grimace thing, because I really don't care about it. Like, that's not something that I'm going to just say, hey, stop with this nonsense. Like, this is baseball. This is superstition, whatever. It's awesome. But it's not the end all be all. And if you lose a game, it doesn't matter what happened the past week and a half. It doesn't diminish anything. You need to go back after the next day for the New York Mets and win that ball game. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. I really just needed to state the importance of that.
Yep. And it's how quickly you stop the bleeding after you lose a game. That's the most important thing. Because that's the idea, right? You're going to be red hot. Yeah, you're going to cool down. Absolutely. But how fast you stop the bleeding and start a new winning streak, right? If you lose 2 in a row, okay, win 5 in a row, right? You get them games back. And you know what? With the Grimace thing, look, if you're a real Mets fan, right, this is more for the casuals that really get into this a lot more than we do, right? I'm not watching a Mets game and Alvarez hitting a ball in the gap to take the lead, and I'm thinking about Grimace. I'm thinking about Alvarez, our young 22-year-old phenom who's going to be a star on this team. That's what I'm thinking about. After the game, yeah, everybody's going to start the memes and all that stuff and all that fun stuff. And everybody's going to start posting Grimace. I even posted him a gift earlier on X about, I'm feeling a little grimacy right now. Yeah, it's fun after the game, right? But during the game, I don't care about Grimace. I don't care. I'm caring Alonso hitting that ball down the line and being pumped up, right? I'm at work like a moron, acting like a fool. Like that's the whole point of this, right? They're giving us good vibes. And to finish up this stream, Chris, I like the lineup. I like McNeil out of this lineup, right? There's nowhere to go for Heaney today. Now, he might pitch a gem. Who knows? But this lineup is red hot. 1 through 9, I'm afraid to face right now. What's your final thoughts, buddy?
Listen, I mean, we can talk about this for about like 5 or 4 or 10 additional minutes. Like, I don't have a hard cap like that. But listen, at this point, we have a game today. Andrew Heaney is not one of the better pitchers in the world, right? We're not facing a fireballer, flamethrower. We're not facing a guy that's going to sort of blow this team out of the ballpark in terms of the velo, right? I love this lineup. This is not a punt lineup. And I think Carson from the Mets Weekly Pod said it best. How many games, especially in game 3 of the series, right, have we seen this Mets team throw out like a punt lineup? We've seen it all too often in recent years. This is not a punt lineup.
A Sunday lineup.
Jeff McNeil, yeah, and Jeff McNeil sitting today wasn't a surprise. We started the post game yesterday. Like, Jose Iglesias was expected to start today, regardless if it was a lefty or a righty. And that's still TBD in terms of how they're approaching it. But I love this lineup. Continue to get on base, continue to get hits. I love the approach. It's about pitch recognition. It always has been about pitch recognition. It's about being on time with your swing. This is awesome offense that we're seeing from this Mets club. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Top to bottom. I want to continue to see good at-bats. And shout out Zach, shout out Patty, shout out Stoney. Appreciate you all being here. Obviously, as always, if anybody's in here in the live chat, hit that thumbs up for us on both streams because it's being streamed on both Rob and I's YouTube. But there's nothing else to say about tonight's game. We can talk matchups, right? We can talk about Jose Iglesias career-wise, right? I looked at the splits for Jose Iglesias. Infinitely better of a hitter versus a lefty than a righty in his career. 20-plus points or 20 points higher in the batting average. 20 points higher in the on-base percentage. And I haven't looked at the splits of this whole lineup versus Heaney in their careers. But listen, with the way this team has put runs up on the board against better pitching, especially in this series, right? We take a look at John Gray, and like I said, and like we said in the pregame yesterday about the ERA that he had coming into this game and the season that he had coming into that game in game 1. This lineup right now, with the way they're producing, is quite literally a scary thought for the opposition, no matter what team you are, no matter what pitcher you are. And that's exactly what us as Mets fans have been praying for and hoping for. We just want this lineup to be producing in a way that we know that they're capable of, which means that they are a scary thought 1 through 9. Because I'm not sure about you all, but at any point in this lineup right here, as an opposing pitcher, who do you want to throw to? Next man up. You walk this guy, next man up, double. You walk that guy, guess what? Next man up, single. It's just like keep the train rolling.
Yep.
And as for Sean Manaea, because I really wanted to get onto Sean Manaea here before we finish up this stream. I know we're going on about 31 minutes, going on 32 minutes here on the stream. But Sean Manaea, like I said, one of those pitchers that we know giving the Mets length really isn't his strength, meaning going more than 5 innings pitched. And like I said, on my YouTube channel right now in the live chat poll, if you're watching on my YouTube, go ahead and vote on the live chat poll. I said, how many innings do you think Sean Manaea goes tonight? 4+ innings, 5+ innings, or 6+ innings? Make sure you vote because the resounding consensus here is that it's going to be 5+ innings, just like he has done in the past and that like he usually does. Anything beyond 5 innings for Sean Manaea is a cherry on top. But you know what? This bullpen is performing in a way that they're going to pick him up, especially if the ball game is close. Keep your team in the ball game, Sean Manaea. I want to see how that sweeper is working. That's your bread and butter. If that sweeper is working, if you're making it a competitive pitch, you don't have to throw it for a strike in a pitcher's count. As long as you're throwing it around the zone, you're going to get some chase. You're going to get some strikeouts. And by the way, I tossed up a poll before this series even began about who's going to toss the most strikeouts in this series. Listen, Luis Severino only had 1 strikeout last night. I believe David Peterson had 6, either 5 or 6. It was one of those 2 numbers I'm very confident in game 1. Does Sean Manaea go past that strikeout rate? Does he go past that strikeout number? I'm very curious. And that all starts with the sweeper and how competitive it is. I need to see a good ball game out of Sean Manaea. I really do.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And, Daniel brought up a good stat in the chat. Manaea is 3-0 with a 2.81 ERA on the road, and that's good news. So he's pitched better on the road. And again, look, I think the consensus is 5 innings from Sean Manaea. That third time around the order usually isn't good. But, you got to go with your gut. And I'm not worried about Mendoza going with his gut if he has to, right? If Manaea's, cruising through 5, maybe go to the 6, but have somebody ready in the bullpen just in case. But if it's 5 innings, 3 runs or less, that's what I want. 3 runs or less for 5 innings. If you give me that, I feel confident the Mets are going to win the ball game because the bullpen, since Diaz has come back, or even before Diaz has come back, has been starting to have their roles now, and everybody got pushed back, right? And look, Reed Garrett wasn't as outstanding as he was, in a month ago, but he's solid. He's a solid reliever, right? Even Ottavino in his parts here and there is looking better because his roles changed big time, right? Drew Smith, you got all these guys that are in roles now that are, it looks, they feel a lot more comfortable. And that's all because of Diaz coming back and everybody getting pushed back. And if Sean Manaea can do what Daniel said in that stat line on the road and give us another really good outing on the road, we'll take it. But 5 innings, 3 runs or less, I'll take it. Because I'm confident that the offense, if this game is close, which there's no reason why to think the Mets aren't going to play a close game because they've done that all year. Even during their terrible May, look how many games they lost 2-1, 3-2, 7-6. They lost a lot of close games late and blew a ton of games. So if I see the bullpen pitching better, and the offense is the hottest it's been all season with everybody hitting, why do I not expect them to win this ball game today? And Chris, listen, sweep them. I'm getting greedy now. I don't care, right? Would I be disappointed if they lose today? Yeah, but you know what? We'll have some shows tomorrow on the off day and talk about it. But the momentum shouldn't stop because if we lose today, it's not the end of the world, right? But if we win today and we go 8-0 in the Grimace era, we have the off day. Met fans, I tell you, whoever's streaming tomorrow on their shows, you're going to get some good views because Met fans are pumped everywhere. Everybody's excited because when it's unexpected, it feels even better. And this is unexpected for us. Like, let's be honest. But I feel good about today. I think the Mets are going to roll. I mean, would anybody be shocked if it's a blowout today and the Mets blow them out? Because the Texas Rangers, Chris, they are scuffling. They look like a
I'd be
team.
shocked.
I would be too, because I think they have fight in them. The Rangers, right? The World Series champs. It's hard to, not think they have fight. But what happened yesterday, it's a hard recovery. Unless they had their player meeting that we don't know about, and maybe that gets them a big jolt and make everybody else accountable. Because sometimes after you win a World Series, obviously we don't know, but you get complacent, right? We've seen that with a lot of teams after the World Series and their hangover. Let's not get complacent. Let them have one more day of thinking that, oh man, are we even that good? They can start tomorrow being red hot. But today, I feel very confident on Mets, Chris. What are your final thoughts on that?
One question for you before
Yeah.
we sort of wrap things up here is that I understand that Edwin Diaz threw yesterday and that he got the save yesterday. If it comes down to a close ball game in the 9th inning, are you throwing Edwin Diaz out there again today? Do you think he's available today? I'm very
I think because of the off day tomorrow, absolutely. I think if you have an opportunity to sweep the series, don't put Reed Garrett out there. Even though I might trust him, I might say, okay, no problem. Even if you throw Drew Smith out there or whoever it is, right? I'd rather lose with Diaz on the mound in the 9th than to lose without Diaz, because you're going to talk about the what if factor, right? He's been better. He's your closer. If you didn't have the off day tomorrow, I don't think many people would get mad about that. But even without the off day tomorrow, if we didn't have an off day, I want Diaz on the mound in the 9th if we have a lead. Like, I want that sweep, and Diaz should be on the mound. What are you paying him $20 million for if you're not going to use him anytime, any moment? I'm not saying pitch him 9 days in a row, but you win ball games that you need to win. And a sweep is a lot more sexier, and it feels damn good. Back-to-back sweeps going into Chicago, having an off day where they can, get a breather. Everybody gets rested up. Whoever's banged up can get a little bit of rest. The bullpen gets rest. And then you head to Chicago, who is also scuffling. I pitch him 100%. I think
100%.
yeah.
100%.
And I think Mendoza will. I don't think he cares right now about worrying about if Diaz is going to be good for Friday, even if he's not ready to go on Friday. It is what it is. You win the ball game and you figure it out on Friday. But you win the game that's in front of you. I don't care about Friday. Win the game that's in front of you, because that's what matters. Because, Chris, to finish up, we win today, there might be a strong possibility that tomorrow we're talking about the Mets in a wild card spot. Who would have thought that 2 weeks ago, Chris? Holy shit.
100%.
So,
100%.
listen, guys. Show Manaea on the mound. The lineup's red hot. Everybody loves the lineup tonight. No Jeff McNeil, Iglesias. That's how you know Mendoza isn't playing. And also, Marte playing multiple days in a row is another sign that Mendoza isn't playing around, because Marte would have got a day off today. He would have got back-to-back today off and then the off day tomorrow going into the Cubs series. So, listen, 2 games under 500. They're going for the sweep. I'm ready. Chris is ready. Everybody's in the chat ready. Mets on X, who's ever watching right now on both of our X accounts. Let's go, Mets. Grimace effect in full effect. No matter if you like it or not, just embrace it. It's fun. We're embracing it. We got the glasses on. The Mets are burning hot right now. We can't see. That's why we need sunglasses. We got the purple background going. We're orange, blue, and purple right now. That's what we are. And we're going to keep it going until it ends. And who knows when that's going to be? It could be today. Could be next week. Could be 3 weeks. Who knows? Ride the orange and blue and purple wave, guys. That's my thoughts right there. All right, guys.
Listen, 2 things for me. This is the only 2 things. 1, Frank said David Peterson had 7 strikeouts in game 1. Thank you for correcting me. And 2, what do I always say? Just win.
Yeah.
That's it.
Just win, as Chris said, and that is the perfect final thoughts. Hey, no coincidence. Purple Grimace, City Connect purple, and hey, we could be the New York Rockies Who cares? Doesn't matter. Purple Rain, yeah, you want to go with that? Purple Rain, I go with that too. All right, guys. So with that said, that's another amazing Mets pregame show in the books. Mets are going for the sweep tonight. Chris is doing a post game with Nick. Unfortunately, I won't be there, but they will definitely hold it down, and hopefully they'll be talking about a Mets sweep and another Mets victory and 8 in a row. With that said, have a great night, guys. Enjoy the Mets game. Let's go Mets. We'll see you next time. Good night, guys. Let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets.
You'll find a Mets fan. Let's go. This is a Mets cheer for all your Mets here.